involved in a few searches. I want to say, first of all, thank you to the search committee. I think they did an excellent job. I appreciate the work that they put into it. I know it's somewhat tedious and can sometimes be difficult. So, and I want to thank our search group, Community Paradigm Associates. You have a contract with the group, but you don't know how they are to work with until the rubber meets the road, and they're very good to work with, and I just want to thank them for everything, Sharon and Bernie, for everything you've done for this. The three candidates we had were and are excellent candidates. I had a very simple criteria. I wanted someone ideally who had experience as a town manager, who understood mass law, and wanted someone who could get along with the public, who could fit in with the public, not a politician. Pretty simple. And I think we have three candidates who meet some or all of that criteria. I don't think we can make a bad choice tonight, so I don't think we can mess up too badly, because I think all three would do an excellent job. And some of you who know me will know that I will not say that if I didn't think that. So I don't think it's an easy decision, but I think we do have three good candidates. I also want to thank the staff of the town hall for taking their time to meet with the candidates and give us their input, and also the public, because their input's important to us. So I just want to thank everyone. This is not an easy process, and I think it's gone extremely well, and we'll see in the next 15 or so minutes how it goes from there. Anyone else want to?
May I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to again thank everybody that was involved, Bernie and Sharon, and again the staff and the public for coming out too, and even the press for kind of covering these things. And I do want to thank you guys too for kind of sticking with this too. You know, it's not easy standing up here, you know, deciding somebody's future. But I think we had three great candidates that had three distinctively different kind of styles and personalities even maybe, which is very exciting, because I'm glad that we didn't just get the run-of-the-mill, you know, whatever. So I know that takes a lot to get that kind of work done. Michael's group, you guys, I can't imagine what you guys probably had to go through just to get these three people. You know, I'm sure there's probably just as many people that were probably pretty close to equally qualified. Maybe not, I don't know.
He's not talking.
That's okay. Three that you presented us with are fabulous, and I think we have a tough decision ahead of us.
Okay, Eddie?
How do we start to make this decision? I think that's...
I think, you know, we start talking about candidates, or, you know, I have one candidate who I think overall is, it turns out what's the best fit for Great Barrington, because the three candidates are excellent candidates, but doesn't mean they will all fit perfectly for Great Barrington. Some have more experience than others. None have the experience of a town our size, and we're not exactly New York City, but I think they're all capable. I think in the long run, I didn't know any of the three candidates. I mean, I obviously knew Mark Pruhenski, but I didn't know him personally or socially, and I had heard good things about him over the years, and to me, he was the best candidate. I mean, that's my opinion. So I'll come out and say it. That's how we start. Someone has to, and I'll take the leadership role.
There you go.
I think either of the other two had their strengths, and I think all three have some weaknesses, but don't we all? Other comments?
No, we're just gonna leave you hanging out there.
Leave it just
You
as
can.
that.
I would say that to me, second to him was Ken. I thought that he was also a great, I think his years of experience in being a town manager were great, but I did have some concerns about there was something a little old school, and I think that, I think that may not necessarily be where the direction that Great Barrington, is going. I had some concerns about his feelings about technology, but ultimately, I think he would be a good, I think he would do a good job. So I would say that for me, those two were probably stood out as the strongest.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think what impressed me a lot about Ken is Dalton is similar to Great Barrington in a lot of different ways, but they're kind of, I don't want to make Great Barrington sound elitist, but they're like a step behind us, if you will. You know, they're closer to they obviously have much bigger financial struggles. So I think if that's the direction the board went with Ken, I think he could come into this position and he would have that, what he was looking for, a rejuvenated thing, because he's kind of going from this really tight budgets to being able to kind of use that kind of, for lack of a better term, conservative kind of mindset and come into this kind of progressive thing, which I think might be neat for the town to kind of see. But with that said, yeah, I think maybe that's kind of my concern too, was that he is a little bit of old school, and I related to that because I hate social media and technology too. But I guess overall, I think Mark, you know, surprised me with a lot of things that he said last night. I know Mark quite well, you know, so, but I don't know him professionally. So some of the things that he said last night were really eye-opening, and I would again kind of sentiment with that being, he's probably my top candidate, but I think if we need to kind of look at it a little further, I think Ken certainly would be a very close second, if not, I could be persuaded to go either way on either one of those candidates, I guess.
Yeah, I would say one of the advantages that any of these three candidates have is the staff that Jennifer has built. They have a really good staff, so if they have a weakness in the area of budgeting, Sue's terrific. If it's the infrastructure, I think Sean's done a good job. We know how good a planner we have, so I think that, and I'm probably leaving someone out who'll let me know in the morning, but I think that we really need someone who's a leader and is willing to learn from the staff. So whatever they may make up for lack of experience, I think our staff is here to participate.
Right.
If any one of the three were the only option, I would not be unhappy. I would have a harder time ranking, I am having a harder time ranking Ken and Mark, which doesn't mean I disagree with the ranking. I'm just not sure how, given the different strengths.
Right.
The staff comments about Mark were 100% positive. And I would love for this decision to be unanimous.
Right. There were, you know, I was kind of keeping note of things that they did that I felt were, you know, both Ken and Mark said that they have been in the process of updating a personnel policy, which is something that, for me, for the town of Great Barrington, is incredibly important that we do. So I liked that they both had that kind of recently under their belts. But for Mark was the e-newsletter, and I certainly remember running, and often we hear it, that people, they don't know what's going on in our town. And there was something about saying, you know, he did a weekly one. I would think maybe managing a town that's slightly larger, a weekly e-newsletter may be a little bit more difficult, but knowing that that kind of communication is available to our town, I think is really important. And so that kind of stands out to me. And then as somebody who in my own life is really cognizant of how we communicate with each other, there was a few things that Ken said in his interview the way he referenced staff members of, that was of some concern to me. That I just felt like there was a little bit more progressiveness, and inclusiveness in Mark that I really appreciated.
Do we have a motion?
Just before I make it, I'm picking up a preference for Mark.
So,
Well, let me make a motion. I move that we appoint the town manager, Mark Pruhenski as town manager, subject to further background review and successful negotiation of employment agreement.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. So thank you very much. We will go ahead with informing the three and with starting negotiations, which we will have to have an executive session because we have not talked about salary at all, so.
Okay.
We have to pay him?
So, Steve, is that,
Wait, we need to adjourn.
so, well, I'm still asking a
Oh,
question.
no, I'm.
So is that, so our next part is not in public?
The only part that we'll do in executive session is to discuss contract negotiations.
Okay.
And usually, one member of the board will enter into contract negotiations.
Okay, so that, I guess that's what I'm asking. Are
Yeah.
we meeting as a, would we meet as a board?
Board to
discuss-
talk about the contract negotiations, but it's
And
contract.
then we send one of us off to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, okay,
That's how I've always done in the past, and it's
Okay.
never been a problem.
okay. I just didn't know the procedure. Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.